In this video, I'm going to talk about my first meal in Japan and give you my review of raw chicken. As you may be able to tell from my voice, I am from England, so I started my journey in London, took a flight to Rome, changed planes, and then went to Osaka. By the time I arrived in Japan, I was very tired. I think it was around late morning, and I was met at the airport by a friend, which was very nice. The first thing I did was I just went for a little nap, so no eating for the first few hours. By the time I woke up, it was late afternoon. I thought I'll just wait until dinner for my first meal, and that evening my friend was going out with some Japanese friends, so I tagged along. When we met up with the Japanese friends, they asked me what did I want to eat, seeing as it was my first evening, my first meal in Japan, and I said I didn't really know what I wanted to eat because I didn't really know that much about Japanese food. I knew about a couple of things like sushi, like ramen, so I said please take me to somewhere where I can eat something that I wouldn't be able to eat in England. The Japanese person in charge of our group gave it a little think and came up with a good place that we could go. And the first thing I liked about this restaurant is that I had to take my shoes off. This might not seem like a big thing, but it's a nice little novelty when you're used to going to restaurants where you keep your shoes on. Just a little bit of fun, a little bit of spice. And if you're wondering, you don't have to take your shoes off in all the restaurants in Japan, only really a minority of restaurants. And we were led to the Japanese dining area, and in this restaurant they had both Western style seating, so normal chairs and tables, and then a Japanese seating area where you were sitting on the floor with a low table. And the first couple of things that came out were very normal. To be honest, I can't remember what they were. I can just remember that they were normal and tasted decent. And then the next dish that came out was raw chicken. So yes, in Japan you can eat raw chicken. You can't eat raw chicken everywhere in Japan. It's a delicacy. The vast majority of restaurants won't sell it. The restaurants that do serve raw chicken observe certain hygiene regulations in order to reduce the likelihood that there'll be any negative outcomes. And the chicken isn't 100% raw because on the very outside it's slightly seared. I think they use a blowtorch usually to do this, but the inside is completely raw. It's usually just like other sashimi, cut into very thin slices. So you'll get a little dish and maybe it'll have like 4 or 5 thin slices of chicken. It comes from the breast meat, the inner breast meat usually, and typically you will eat it maybe just dipping it in soy sauce. And what do I think about raw chicken? It's not that great. Before I eat it, obviously there's a little bit of trepidation because whenever you hear raw chicken, you think salmonella, or at least if you're English, that's the connection that you have. In terms of the taste, it's not that great. It's difficult to describe it because usually when people eat weird meat, unusual meat, they say, oh, actually it tastes a lot like chicken. Like that's something people always say when they eat frog's legs. They say frog's legs taste like chicken. Or what do snails taste like? Snails taste like chicken. What does raw chicken taste like? It tastes like chicken, but raw. If you've ever cooked raw chicken, if you've handled raw chicken, you probably can guess what it will taste like. It has the smell of raw chicken, obviously, and then it's just a little bit chewy, but not too chewy because it is, as I said, cut very thinly. There's nothing great about it either, so it's quite expensive for what it is, and there's no great reason to eat it. I think it's one of those things that people eat because it's strange. I don't think people eat it because it's delicious. If you're coming to Japan and you want to try something strange, then I'd recommend eating it because, you know, you may as well, you only live once. Obviously, if you don't take a lot of precautions when it comes to food hygiene, you might be living for a shorter length of time, but probably be okay. So, you know, go for it. Obviously, there are a lot of other things that you can eat raw in Japan which are more tasty. There's raw fish, raw eggs are also quite common. Typically people will eat raw eggs over rice. There are quite a few horse meat restaurants. One thing that they do is you get minced raw horse meat and then a raw egg on top of that, and then you mix it together and eat it. That's quite nice. It's a bit like eating a burger that hasn't been cooked. In the UK, people don't like eating horse meat. Even people who eat cows and pigs draw the line at horses. But a lot of people in the UK have eaten horse because a few years ago, well, I think about 10 years ago, there was a horse meat scandal in the UK where lots of people were eating what they believed to be beef, but it was actually beef mixed up with horse. Almost everyone who was going to supermarkets and buying frozen meals of like lasagna was eating horse. If you come to Japan, try raw chicken if you want to. I think probably not going to hurt you. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a like and consider subscribing to the channel. Also, if you have any comments or if you have anything that you want me to talk about, please leave a comment down below. Thank you very much and see you in the next video.